Welcome back, fast water vessel lovers, to Drag Boat 101. I'm your host, Tyler Speer, and last episode we talked about bracket racing and reaction times and elapsed times, why both of them are so important. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about things no driver likes to ever see and or do, which are infractions. First, let's cover the main types of infractions and all the different ways that a driver could mess up out there on the race course. So they could start in gear, they could have a red light, they could run off course, and they could break out. Starting in gear and running off track are both safety violations. This means that if a driver starts in gear and or runs off the track, that run and that driver is immediately disqualified. Regardless of what happens in the other lane, the other driver would win. The best way to recognize who would win when an infraction occurs, like a red light or a breakout, is pretty easy. You just want to always remember first or worst. So this means the driver with the first infraction, for example, a red light, would be eliminated, even if the driver in the other lane broke out of their index. So the worst part means if both drivers turn on the big ugly red bulb, then the driver with the worst of the two reaction times would be eliminated. This also applies if both drivers break out of their designated index. Then the driver closest to the number would take the win. So just remember these three rules. If it's a safety infraction, automatic disqualified, the other person gets pretty much a free run. So if it's starting in gear and running off course, the other person can just run it down through there, even if they red light and or breakout, doesn't matter. Next, just remember first or worst. So whoever has a first infraction or the worst infraction. Just like an infraction, that's the end of this episode. We're gonna go over mile an hour and ET for the next episode of Drag Boat 101.